Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20, and as you can see I'm hanging out in my test world because today I'm doing a mod spotlight on the latest updates to Buildcraft. This is Buildcraft 3.1.0. Space Toad just released it today. It's still an alpha state product, but he's added a lot of cool stuff to it and I wanted to show it to you guys. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to show you is a minor change to the refinery. It's probably not a big deal for most of you, but I just want you to be aware of it. The refinery now has an interface where players can choose something, for example, telling the refinery what's allowed to go in the left and right sides. You could just leave it blank and not use it at all, but if you want to, you can tell it that oil goes in the right side. And you'll see by clicking in there with an oil bucket, it filled in this oil spot, and automatically it knows that oil will produce fuel. So, right now I just told the refinery that the only thing that should go in the sides here is oil, and fuel is going to be the output. Now, for the most part, that's not a big deal, unless any of you playing this mod frequently have noticed that sometimes you get some fuel landing in the back of these buckets here, so that can sometimes be an issue. So by doing that, it helps prevent that possibility. And this way, this machine will only accept oil on the two sides, and it automatically knows it's going to produce fuel. The neat thing about that is that he included this refinery in his API, so other mod authors that might want to use the refinery can do so. So, for example, if somebody, maybe, the forestry mod, wanted to produce something using a refinery, it should be easier for him to do that now. Not that I know anything about programming, but that's an example of what this could do. So, for the most part, the refinery now can be used by other mods because of this API that Space Toad included. So now let's instead move on to something a little bit more exciting. This is a new type here called the Stripes Transport Pipe, and you can see the recipe as a piece of glass with ink on the left and dandelion on the right. Dandelion yellow dye, that is. And you get 8 Stripes Transport Pipes. What does this guy do? He's actually pretty neat. It's kind of hard to explain, I guess, so why don't I show you what it does real quick. So I've simply got myself an obsidian transport pipe. I'm going to place down a regular transport pipe just for the fun of it, and this Stripes transport pipe here. And what happens when I place an item inside the pipe? Well, once it reaches the Stripes transport pipe here, it's going to go ahead and deploy that item. Cool. Automatically did that. And if you've got an engine on the side of it, when you power the engine, it's going to suck that item back up. Pretty neat. Now, this doesn't only work with items. It's kind of a right-click effect type of deal, so it'll deploy items, but it'll also do stuff like, let's try this oil bucket and see what happens. No idea what'll happen here, but let's see. Oil bucket goes through, and what it should do is the equivalent of right-clicking on the item. So it should deploy the oil. Okay, maybe oil doesn't work. Let's try this with a hoe. I must have one in here somewhere. Sure, why not a bronze hoe? Let's give that guy a try. Now, a bronze hoe, when we right-click with it, will do that. So let's see if the same thing happens when it goes through this Stripes transport pipe. Ta-da! So you could use this to till a little field in front of the pipe, you can use it to deploy blocks, you can plant seeds, stuff like that. So pretty much any item that has a right-click effect, when it goes through this, it'll do it. For the most part, for deploying blocks. And again, pumping it with a redstone engine will pick up the item in front of it. Alright guys, the next item we've got here is called a Cobblestone structure pipe. And as you can see, it's made with a cobblestone transport pipe and a piece of gravel on top. Pretty simple item. What it does is it doesn't actually transfer items, but it does allow you to put the redstone logic wiring and the redstone logic gates on it. And what use does this have? Well, if you want to connect some different piping systems that you don't necessarily want items to transfer through, you can do it that way. So let's say I had these two systems like so. I can simply connect them, and you'll see that the wire goes across the gap. And you can connect these two piping systems. So if this system was doing something, but you didn't necessarily want items going through this system and into this one, but you did want them to affect each other, this is the perfect way to do it. The other benefit here is that you can also do stuff with waterproof systems. So if you had a waterproof pipe going here, and you wanted to run wires down your waterproofing pipe, you can't connect the waterproofing with the non-waterproofing pipe. But if you're using this guy, you most certainly can. Pretty cool. Next up, you should be familiar with the architect table. I think it used to be called the template table, but now it's called the architect table. There's the recipe for it, as you should know if you've used Buildcraft in the past. And what this guy does, if we, let's say we place him down here, and we build a nice little system. I'm just going to build something extremely small and simple right now. Just like that, sure, why not? And I'll even go one level higher. Okay? You can surround this with your landmarks, like so. Okay? And now when you click on your landmark, it surrounds it. There we go, I actually want to do it like that. Perfect. So the thing's surrounded by all the landmark areas, and you can place down your template table, and you can record on an item called a blank template, shown here, blank template, the pattern inside that table. Now one of the additions to the template is you can name it. And once it encodes that pattern in the blank template, that pattern now has the name that you typed in there. So now I can go get a builder and place this guy down somewhere. Let's try right over here. And once I place that template inside the builder, it's going to map out the area that it needs to design and replicate that little template. Let's hook it up now, and I'm going to just throw glowstone in there. Why not? And if I get myself a combustion engine, we're about to see another one of the really neat changes that he added to this mod. Just place some fuel in there and activate it with a redstone torch. And here goes nothing. You can see a little robot is spawned, and the robot is actually going to do the building for us. And of course, because I only have one redstone engine on that guy, it's not going to be too perfect. But once the robot finishes his work, the builder is done. So we've got that cool funky design sitting in my builder there. Now there's something else really neat that he gave us. He gave us something called a blueprint, which is an upgrade from the template. And the blueprint is crafted like so. Let's check out what the blueprint does. So I just built a little basic pattern here. It's got some smooth stone, some glass, and a torch inside, right? So let's go ahead and grab our landmark. I'm going to place a landmark right here. I'm going to place one up here, one over here, and finally one in the back here. And let's right click this guy, and you'll see our lines surround our building. Looks good to me. And we'll place down our template table again. I'm sorry, architect table. Forgot it got renamed. And I'm going to place down a blank blueprint in here and say corridor. That's the name of this guy. Why not? Corridor. Perfect. Now I can knock down this thing here. And let's go place down our builder right there with the corridor blueprint. And you should immediately notice that A, it's got the corridor as needed. Actually, I think I want to place it here. Yeah, that looks good. Why not? And it's going to tell you on the right what items you need to build this corridor. That's right. The blueprint is an upgrade in the template, in the fact that with a template you can recreate your patterns with any blocks you want, but the blueprint will recreate it exactly. So if I place some smooth stone and some glass and a torch in there or two, and connect that engine again, so I need to get myself another redstone combustion engine. Let's place two of them down. With fuel, of course. Our little robot guy here will come back. He cleared out that flower for me, and he's going to start building the room, as requested. Hey, not bad at all. If I were a little bit better with my landmarks there, it might have worked out better, but hey, he's doing exactly what I want him to do. And look, he placed down the torch for me, and here comes the glass. Sweet. I like it. And the little robot's done. Thank you, Mr. Robot. That's very cool. Now, why did I happen to build a corridor? Well, why don't I show you the next item that's available here. So the next item to show you guys is the path mark. Now this looks very similar to the landmark, so it does actually have a pretty similar function. Let's check it out. If I were to place down a path mark here, and place another one way down here, and yeah, that looks cool, and then right-click to connect them, you can see a red line connects between them. Now if I place down a builder, and inside that builder I place my corridor blueprint, you can see that it's mapped out the little corridor blueprint that I've got there. So let's go ahead and check this guy out. It's going to immediately tell me that my corridor blueprint needs 18 stone, 6 glass, etc., etc. So let's get some. Gonna need a good amount of stone, and a bit more glass. And that should be good for now. So I'm going to fill this guy up with some stone, some glass, and some torches. Why not? And I'll definitely need to get my engines back here. Place them like so. And a couple more buckets of fuel. There we go. Let's turn this guy on and see what happens. The little robot's going to clear out the land inside the system that it's currently got going. And he's building that little house just like you saw him build before. Interesting. There goes the glass on the roof. And hey, wait a second, this little guy moved over here now. Ah, how cool is that? The robot is going to build a second copy of this corridor for me. And you can see he's got a yellow laser now because I placed a third combustion engine on there, and he's building a little bit faster than he was a minute ago. Obviously you need a good amount of combustion engines to get this thing to run at full power. But you can see that once he's built a good amount of his corridor here, he's just going to continue right along and build the next segment. He's going to clear off the land, make sure there's room for everything, and start building. And he'll continue all the way along till the end. I'll be back in a minute once he finishes. Alright, looks like my little robot here is about finishing up what's going on. So he's got this nice little system almost done being built, finishing everything. Place down the torches in the glass, and it looks like he's going to build one more little segment for me, but first he has to clear out this tree to make sure there's enough room for the room I'm building. How sweet is that? So I've just built a nice little corridor using Buildcraft. Very cool. So it's all well and good here that we can build all these templates and all these blueprints and all this cool stuff, but it would really be nice if I didn't have to worry about the fact that from when I go from world to world or from game to game, I'm going to forget how to make these corridors, and I'd have to go recreate it again at some point. Well, not to fear. Space Toad hooked us up once again. Let's go take a look at, somewhere in here it is, the Blueprint Library. This guy is crafted like so. You need a good amount of blank blueprints and a bookshelf, but you get your blueprint library here. And if we take this blueprint library and drop it down on the ground, and we place our blueprint block right here. So there's my corridor, and you can see it moving over and deposited. And I can take my corridor back now. And look, it listed corridor in the blueprint library. Awesome. Now let's imagine that I quit out of the game here and go create a new world. New world, please. I wonder where I'm going to spawn. I have no idea. Hey, there we go. A nice new world. How about I get myself a blueprint library and place it down on the ground right here? Hey, look, my corridor's there. Perfect. And if I collect a blueprint out of this system here, just a blank one please, and place it in this slot, I have a corridor highlighted, and I'm going to go from blank blueprint to corridor. So I was able to transfer the blueprint I made in that previous world into this new one. And I can now take a builder, place it down in the world. Ta-da! It knows that it needs stone, glass, and torches, and it'll start working right away. So not only will you be able to record your blueprints and save them from world to world, you can also keep it in your main world so that if you drop the blueprint, or if you forget it somewhere, or if you die in lava or something, who knows, you can always just get back the blueprint if you record it in your blueprint library. Sweet. And I guess I should also note for you guys that these landmarks don't have to be in perfectly straight lines. You can have them all over the place doing all kinds of weird stuff, and it should kind of build out the way that's kind of intelligent. I have no idea. Let's see what happens if I right-click this guy. Okay, cool. There we go. And then I can place down my builder and my corridor blueprint. And you can see it'll build this corridor kind of following along this crazy little pattern here. So those landmarks are pretty intuitive. Alright guys, let's demonstrate a really neat idea. What if we were to encapsulate this little system I just built? It's got a pump that's powered by a combustion engine, or powered by 3 combustion engines, and the pump feeds water into those combustion engines. Let's place down our template table, or architect table as it's now called, like so. Place a blueprint in there. And we'll name it, I don't know, Pump and Engines. Why not? Ta-da! Pump and Engines. Nice. Let's run over here. We'll knock this guy off. And let's pretend we wanted to replicate this pump and engine system right here. I'm going to get my builder, place him down, open it up, place the pump and engines guy in there, and you can see I'm going to need some conductive pipes, I'm going to need some gold and waterproof pipes, I'm going to need some wooden pipes and a pump, and even a single piece of cobblestone. I don't know where that came from, I forget. Alright, so, placed all the items that I needed to in there, a little surplus, more than I needed to be exact. Let's go ahead and place it down and see what happens. Little builder robot, please clear out this area and replicate the design I just gave you. So, he's placing down my combustion engines for me, and there go all my waterproof pipes. Sweet. Placed down a pump already. Connected the combustion engine to the pump. There go the wooden pipes. Nice. So you can see the interesting designs you could really build if you really got creative with this new blueprint system. So I guess that's a good wrapping up point on the 3.1.0 changes. There's a lot of new stuff in here, as you can see. The Buildcraft mod is amazing and awesome, and definitely one of the foundations of any Minecraft modding experience. Definitely recommend you guys check out the new stuff that Space Toad has coming in 3.1.0. Keep in mind, though, it's still an alpha product, so only use it in test worlds, or make sure you have backups whenever you do. And if you detect bugs or have any problems, be sure to send them a message. And you can find the download to Buildcraft 3.1.0 in the description of this video. Take it easy.